Good morning to you. This is the January 13th, Wednesday edition of the Carolina Weather Video. A lot to talk about, folks, kind of buzzing about the weekend. I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about that aspect of the forecast and really all of what's ahead over the next week or so here in today's edition of the video. So let's get right into it. Another cold air mass has moved back into the region. That's a peek from the Banner Elk web camera, courtesy of our friends there at resortcams.com. It is a cold 8 degrees in Banner Elk during the 5 o'clock hour this morning. A lot of cold air up there in the mountain zones this morning, 20s, teens, and even a couple of single digits on the board here and there early this morning. Cataloochee Ski Resort area looking good this morning. That's the camera from the summit of Cataloochee. Good visibility. You can see all the way down to the base down below. Maggie Valley reporting a temperature of 16. And I have not updated the ski numbers yet with the new data for today, but just rest assured it is fantastic ski conditions all across the region and for any of the resort areas you would like to head to as this week unfolds. There's the Winston-Salem tower camera. Clear and chilly this morning, temperature 27 with a wind chill of 19 early this morning. And I wanted to show you this. This is the time lapse from yesterday from the Dowd YMCA camera in Charlotte. And as we got later in the day, a few clouds developed in as that cold front began to approach from the west. Altogether, though, it was not a bad weather day at all yesterday. Temperatures workable across the southeast. And the Triad area, it was upper 40s and lower 50s in most spots, mainly low and mid 50s yesterday in the Charlotte viewing area. Colder temperatures today. There's a look at the temperatures as I cut the video here during the 5 o'clock hour. Pretty chilly stuff overall. The radar very quiet now all across the region. No sign of any issues anywhere across the region. Some lake effect snow there downwind of the Great Lakes region again this morning. But outside of that, it is very, very quiet all across the eastern part of the country this morning due to Arctic high pressure situated over the southeast. A lot of sunshine today, a clear sky tonight. There's your highs. Pretty chilly today. And it will be a relatively cold night tonight as we head into our Thursday morning. Now, speaking of Thursday, tomorrow the pick day of the week. High pressure slides offshore, so we get that nice southwesterly flow in place as tomorrow unfolds. And so we get a significant warm-up temporarily. There's a look at your highs tomorrow afternoon, looking good across the region. No real changes to my thinking then with our Friday system. There it comes. This looks like a healthy rain producer Friday afternoon and Friday night. Now, it's possible the mountain zones and the highest peaks could see mainly snow out of this depending on how the temperatures behave and depending on the arrival time of the precipitation. But for most of the Carolinas, this is a soaking rain event. Here's the North American model depiction. And the heaviest rain corridor, I still think that will be over toward I-95, similar to what the European model's been showing. But it does look like a pretty healthy footprint of rain. There's the European total. There's the GFS rain total. I think a lot of us, roughly a half to two-thirds of an inch, and again, higher totals over toward I-95. And I'm going to show you more detailed modeling on all this here in just a second. But there's the GFS model showing you the system I'm watching for Sunday. Now, a lot of the models still keep this suppressed to the south, but I have gone ahead and gone with the idea of a little bit of light snow possible in some areas. Again, more on that in just a second. I wanted to show you this too. These are your 5,000 foot or 850 millibar temperatures this morning, and watch this, an even colder shot of air plunges in here for early next week. In fact, the European computer model keeps temperature sub-freezing in a lot of spots for highs Monday afternoon. That's pretty cold stuff. All right, let me go on here to the more detailed charts here. I'm going to just kind of step you through a few things. First of all, we'll take a look at how the system for Sunday, well, before we get into that, let me get into some rain totals here. This is what the GFS computer model is throwing out there for rain totals with the Friday and Friday night storm system. Some pretty decent amounts of rain out there. Let me get a little closer in there, and there's what it looks like across the western Carolinas. Again, a pretty decent rain event for many folks across the region. And then there's your footprint of rain on the European computer model. Again, definitely focused in the eastern Carolinas on that model. So here's how that looks on the higher resolution modeling. This is what the Friday afternoon and evening time period look like on the GFS. Low pressure tucked up along the coast and pretty good shield of rain moving through the region. Now let's go out to what everybody's talking about for the weekend, and it all starts in the upper levels. Okay, so this is what the 0Z GFS looked like with the 500 millibar feature. This is the feature of note down here in Texas. And you go out. I'm sorry, that's the Canadian model, but that's at any rate, that's the feature of note. Now let me find the GFS for you here. All right, there you go. There's the 0Z run of the GFS. And notice it's a pretty consolidated system there. Now let me go back to what the European model is showing. Okay, and this is the European model valid Sunday afternoon. Okay, and this is from yesterday's run. It was kind of just a big trough that wound up swinging through the eastern part of the country. Now, the latest European model, this little piece of energy trending stronger, and the European overnight took a bit of a step toward the GFS solutions over the past several runs. So what was that GFS solution? Okay, this was a look at the system on the 0Z GFS, last night's run, basically. This was Saturday evening's precipitation, a little light snow there in parts of North Alabama, Mississippi, and North Georgia. From there, you went to that look as you went into Sunday morning, some light snow through parts of the western Carolinas. There's a broader perspective of that time period early Sunday morning. And then finally that system pulls away Sunday afternoon. So that was the GFS. The European had a little bit of very, very light precipitation, but not much. But it was a step in the direction of the GFS for the European. Now, this latest, the 0Z run of the GFS was a little bit lighter with the snow than what the previous runs had shown, but I wanted to show you this too. This was the parallel run of the 0Z GFS, and it was certainly a much juicier system. That's a pretty good little snow event on that particular computer model for parts of the Carolinas and the Tennessee Valley, Saturday night into Sunday morning. On the flip side, there's the Canadian, nothing. It is just a trough swinging through on the Canadian model. Now the 6Z run of the GFS has just come in right as I'm cutting the video, and it has beefed up the precipitation. It's a little more similar to that previous parallel run of the GFS I just showed you. So that's what it looked like Sunday morning and then into Sunday afternoon on the latest run of the GFS. All right, so what does all that mean? Well, I've gone ahead and thrown in the idea of a little bit of light snow for parts of the Carolinas Saturday night into Sunday morning. Light is the key word, but I think the models are trending toward that idea of that low pressure being consolidated enough and tucked close enough to the coast to bring some light precipitation. Now, if the system, that southern branch piece of energy I showed you earlier in the video, if it stays more intense, it could be a stronger system. But if the Canadian idea or the previous European model ideas of this kind of just getting merged with that piece of energy in the northern branch is correct, then you end up with really nothing. And that is still a possibility. But I'm leaned in the direction of at least a little bit of light snow over parts of the region Saturday night into Sunday morning. And one final thing to show you before I wrap up the video, this is a look at the again, 0Z run of the GFS, and this were low temperatures Tuesday morning, and that big shot of cold air that arrives, and then high temperatures Tuesday afternoon. It's about 12 to 24 hours quicker on the European model, and I'll just show you this very quickly. That's the European Ensemble, and two things to show you here from that particular computer model. That is the system showing up very nicely on the European Ensemble mean Sunday morning, so that's interesting to note that a lot of the ensemble members are popping that low pressure there. And finally, look at this. That is your big shot of cold air. This is the ensemble mean, and that is a really cold shot of air dropping into the eastern part of the country at 850 millibars on the European. Boy, that's cold stuff. That is a big-time shot of cold air for early next week. All right, that's going to do it for today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody have a great day, and God bless.